This week, I wanted to release the first public demo for Primus, which obviously is becoming a bit of a pattern, but this week I was in fact really close. Most of the game was actually working, the main loop was in place, and I was getting to a point where I could finally package everything and release it. The issue is I had one problem. The version of Primus that I was playing inside Unity looked completely different from the version I would be playing and releasing as a file. Inside Unity, everything looked fine. The colors were normal, the lighting was right, etc. However, when I actually created a actual Windows build, I actually realized that actually things looked a lot darker. The colors felt really crushed, and especially in the dark parts of the screen, things just looked wrong. It was not a subtle difference, as you can see, and I definitely could not release the demo looking like that. The issue was that obviously I had no idea what was causing it, and that's obviously the issue of doing things with AI where you don't know what you don't know. So I ended up going back and forth with Cursor for several days trying to fix this issue. At first I wasn't sure if it was a script issue, and every time that I thought it was fixed, obviously I had to go and make a new separate build to see if it was. And to my discouragement, it kept popping up over and over again. That obviously was a problem of its own. Eventually, I was able to fix this issue, but I was only able to see this was fixed about 6.25 hours later, where I literally tried to download the build of the game, and I'd started it at about 10 in the morning, and it did not finish until about, after 4 in the afternoon. Goodness knows what I did, but I was pleased to know that after I did then go and play that, it was eventually fixed. Now, when I asked Cursor what the problem was, it was saying it was very much likely done to some sort of Vulkan with incorrect color outputs, and how the color was being displayed incorrectly in the build, even though everything looked fine in the Unity editor, and all sorts of stuff in terms of using Direct 3D 11. Obviously, I have no idea what any of that means, but I'm pretty happy to know that it's now fixed once and for all. And what makes it slightly more awkward is that I've already obviously, resubmitted the demo with this issue still happening. So obviously I had to leave a note saying that it would get fixed before I publicly release it. Now, this week there have obviously been a few other bugs as well. At the moment, there's honestly just one issue that is stopping me from releasing the first public build. I was planning to release the demo yesterday and put a post out, but for some odd reason, when I play the game with a file, the game appears more zoomed in than the actual build does inside Unity. And again, I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know why this is, but again, I'm going to try and fix it off. Technically, when I'm thinking about it, I've got a few options. I can either look at trying to fix it with various scripts or, back and forth with AI, or I could maybe look at moving everything, I guess, further away from the edges of the screen, and sort of try and do that. But yeah, I'm not really sure what the best solution is for it. But I will look to be fixing that at least by the end of this week, and ideally releasing the demo publicly. So there is that. But once that issue is fixed, the focus then shifts towards finishing the full game. At the time of recording, I would love to have Primus released around the middle of August, which at the time of recording is then less than 5 weeks away, which obviously is not a lot of time to finish the entire game. Even with me using AI to help me build it, there's still a lot left to do. Now, I want to make fixes such as improving the depth of how the expeditions maps are generated, things like adding more travel events, things such as, different types of enemies. If you're going to get ambushed on the road, it should probably be by bandits, not other gladiators. Adding the remaining head of houses, and that sort of thing. But I think really the main goal is also just trying to keep the scope under control. I know with Scarred Steel, one of the biggest mistakes I made was just trying to keep expanding the scope, and I had no scope control. And so by the time I was planning to release the game, it was nowhere near done, right? Like I hadn't even completed the game myself. So I ran into a lot of issues with Scarred Steel, so I don't want to make the same mistake for Primus. I think really for Primus, it's about having a core replayable loop that is enough to keep players playing over and over without making it feel too complicated. I think really the bigger challenge which I'm reflecting on is that I haven't actually been putting enough time into Primus itself. Over the last 16 weeks since I started, I've basically averaged around 15 focused hours per week on Primus, which isn't terrible, but it's also not enough if I genuinely want to finish the game. And honestly, I reckon if I had been putting a lot more hours, I probably could have been very close to actually releasing Primus already. And obviously, if you've been keeping track, I probably and most definitely would have released the Primus demo in time for the Steam Fest. But here we are. Now, last week, I was able to do 27.5 hours, and the difference was obvious. I simply got a lot more done, which sounds very obvious when I say it out loud, but I think the main issue here is that if I want to make, or the main thing is that if I want to make faster progress on the things that matter to me, I just simply need to give them more time. There's not really a shortcut around that, it's just simply turning up more to it. And I think that obviously goes for a lot of things. But there we are. So I think the mid-August release is possible as long as I put in a lot more time. If it takes longer, then worst comes to worst, we look to release the game mid-September, but we're going to keep pushing towards August. So that's where Primus is now. I want to continue obviously pushing to get this demo out. And then moving forward, it is literally the push for the full release. Which, is always exciting, but again, it's trying to keep that scope as clear as possible as well. Hopefully this time I can actually get some feedback for Primus, because that was something I lacked with Scarred Steel, because I just didn't really have that much of an audience. I still don't have much of one now, but anything is better than nothing, so that's that. So I will be putting a post out when I do officially release the Steam, the demo for Primus. If you have any feedback, I'm more than open to receiving it on YouTube. I may look at releasing some sort of like Google form thing. It won't be crazy, but just something which allows me to get more, I guess, structured feedback and such. So that's that. That's pretty much where we're going to be, if I'm honest. And just trying to take whatever feedback that I can get for the game and moving forward with it. I am looking forward to actually getting this game out, so that'll be really cool. But yeah, if you haven't already wishlist Scarred Steel. If you haven't already wishlist Primus, feel free to obviously do that if you are interested. When the demo comes out, if you have any feedback at all, assuming it's constructive, then yeah, I'd be more than open to hear about it. But with that said, I appreciate you watching, and I'll chat soon.